want, what you want. Come on. What you want, what you want. Come.
Hi guys, Aceface back with another video for you, and I'm going to have a little bit of a natter and a chat about Tyranids today. And I've been wanting to make this video for a long time, and I've just not really got around to doing it. But I thought now, sort of 7th editions, it's here with us. We've kind of learned to live with it. Kind of, some of us love it, some of us don't. I've got to say I'm in the love it camp. By far my favourite edition so far. I can't get enough of it. Just the ability to be just completely flexible and do what you want, whatever suits you. Just to me, I love it. It just tailors itself to being ultra competitive, but also being able to be a lot of fun, because you can tailor it to whatever type of opponent or whatever type of game you're playing. If you're playing friends and you want to play something fluffy and fun, you can. If you want to play something disgustingly cheesy, you can do that as well. So it kind of tailors to everybody. So yeah, so in a nutshell, I love 7th. But anyway, I digress. So what I wanted to talk about today is I wanted to talk about Tyranids and how they factor in 7th. And it's mainly off the back of reading a lot of forum comments, listening to a lot of videos on people that know what they're talking about, and have their opinions, rightly or wrongly, on where they feel certain armies factor in the scale of, or tiers, as people like to call them, of where certain armies factor. And it's very interesting. It's great to see what people's opinions are. I do love it, and as I said, it would be a boring game if it was set in stone where the best armies were, and you couldn't do anything about them, and that's not the case. But there is some real kind of strong opinions on where people rate certain armies, and I don't want to talk too much about 40k armies and where they rate in general, but I want to talk about Tyranids. So Tyranids, basically, at the moment, the general consensus among a lot of wargamers that believe that they have a good idea of where things are at, pretty much grade Tyranids at the bottom. So they pretty much put the poor old Nids at the bottom of the scale, below everybody. And I just don't agree with it. And there's lots of reasons why I don't agree with it. But you know, let's kind of start with it. So the biggest thing for me is the way that the game works now is you don't just take something from the codex. So you don't just take your Space Marine and you go, well, so I am playing Space Marines and I have got this book to choose from, and that's it. It doesn't work like that anymore. You have your main codex, then you have access to all the Forge World, you have access to all of your super heavies, you have access to data slates, you also have access to allies, and when it comes to allies, you can ally with anybody, so you have got access to anything you want, and it's for you as a player to work out what synergizes best with your main army and how you want to fix a army together. So going back to Tyranids, so the Tyranid codex as a whole, in my opinion, was not the best codex. It has a lot of weaknesses, it has a lot of poorly written bits where just things don't make sense, and that's definitely true. There is no getting away from that. There are some things that are glaringly obvious that they're just no good, you know, and they don't balance out. I mean, instinctive behaviour it just does not really give the Tyranid player much of a bonus anymore. It's all stick and no carrot, which to me is just disappointing, because I like the risk of things going wrong. That adds flavour to the game, and that's the way instinctive behaviour should be. But there should be a chance of things really going right for you, and something really kind of clicking into gear and to making you have a benefit from it, and that's really not there. So that's a real kind of disappointment. The fact that the way that our psychic powers are so restricting on the fact that we have just no access to anything else, again, it seems to be a shame. I don't see why that has to be. From a fluff point of view, I can understand to a degree, but it doesn't make that much sense, you know. I mean, the list is endless. There are so many factors, so many units that basically have just been killed off. They had an opportunity to bring them back, and they didn't. I mean, things like the Pyrovore. I mean, the Pyrovore, you know, it's never going to be an amazing unit because it's not quick enough. But at least make that flamer effective if somebody was to come close to it. And it's just not. It has a badly written rule, which people I suppose can abuse, but it's just a poor unit. It's no good. It's never going to be a good, effective unit. You know, and again, I mean, there's countless others. I mean, you look at Old One Eye. Now, I love Old One Eye. I love the fluff. I love the thought of having a HQ Carnifex. But it has a special rule which allows it to give the Carnifexes its leadership. But its leadership's not 10. So it just gives the Carnifexes a bit of a better leadership. It's not a synapse creature. You know, it just, again, it's just an opportunity where it wouldn't have made it overpowered to allow it to be a synapse creature, or at least give it a leadership of 10. It suddenly then becomes a viable option. You know, Swarmlord, again, a unit that was pretty expensive, not massively impressive because it was fairly slow, but you know, just kind of make it a little bit worse, make it a little bit more expensive. There's just a few factors that just don't really make sense and don't read in the codex. So I totally agree with the people that say that it's a poor codex. It is quite a poor codex, but, and this is the big but, because whether you think that it was a tactical approach and that Games Workshop knew that it was a poorly written codex, or it was a weak codex, or you think that they didn't know that but they just wanted to add extra things, you know, the opinion's split on that way. But the one thing that you cannot deny is the volume of data slates of formations that Tyranids give them a massive extra bonus. Now, a lot of the new codex are coming up with formations written in, I get that, but Tyranids, we've got loads, and yeah, a lot of them aren't amazing, but there's a lot that are decent, and a lot can be used to our advantage. And this is a big factor of why I disagree massively with people's general opinion of Tyranids as a whole. Let's just talk about two of those formations in particular. Living Artillery and Skyblight. Now obviously you know from me, I love Skyblight, I use it a lot. It's my go-to list, it's my go-to formation. And it's incredibly powerful. It's still incredibly powerful, and in fact in some ways it's more powerful than it was before, because some people say, well, it had it had objective secure, but now everyone's got objective secure. You say that, but actually it's the only way you can go for an objective secure, but run an unbound list. So you can run the Skyblight formation and you don't have to have a bound list, and you've still got 3 regenerating objective secure units. That's amazing. That is top draw. That's out there. That is one of the most fearsome things that you can do, because you can have those solid 3 objective secure units that can potentially be fearless, that you know you can get cover off them, that They can be also, and you can make them bigger. They don't need to be a unit of 10. They can be a unit of 20. Unit of, you know, there's a lot you can do with those 3 units, and still have the opportunity of building a completely disgustingly dirty unbound list. So that's one thing. The living artillery, absolute awesome, fantastic, great use of heavy support. And heavy support is one of the strongest areas of the Tyranid Codex. So to be able to absolutely span heavy support with that formation is awesome. So that's just 2 examples alone of how they really can strengthen the Tyranids. When you take that, and then on top of that you then put the introduction of the new Forge World stuff. When you look at the Dave, as I call him, because I still cannot get in my brain into gear onto what that unit is called, but the big monstrous creature, you know, you take him into account at 200 points, something with just the sheer volume of attacks and the ability to instant kill. There's your Wraith Knight killer straight away. You know, that's an answer to a lot of the problems that a lot of armies have. You've got that guy in there at 200 points. Awesome, absolute awesome. Yeah, he's not the fastest, but he's crazy good at 200 points. You've got Stonecrusher Carnifexes that used to be a bit, yeah, they're alright. Now they're awesome. Units of 3 Stonecrusher Carnifexes with all their bonuses, you know, -1 against the strength of the weapon that's going against you. Hammer of Wrath at AP2. Instant death. Well, I mean, again, the list goes on, and they're not that expensive. Suddenly you've got something that on an impact hit can take a knight down. You've got that in your locker now. I mean, it's just the Mallenthrope, something that will reliably give you cover and potentially give you a 2-up a lot of the time. That, you know, that's your invincibility. Yeah, you can come against Tau, you can come against some things that will ignore cover, you know, but on the whole, there's not loads and loads of ignore cover. And the opportunity to give such a large percentage of your army such a strong save is phenomenal. And that's for a relatively small points again, and relatively high toughness with a lot of wounds that gives you synapse. It's an awesome unit, an absolutely awesome unit. You know, I can't stress how much the Tyranids now have in their locker to deal with most things. Then on top of that, look at the super heavies. So your likes of the Harridan, a really competitive, well priced, flying monstrous creature with loads of wounds and loads of strength 10 shots. That's awesome. That's awesome. 100%. And then you take in the Stomps and all sorts. You know, he's a great unit. And the way that flyers work now, if you've got something that's shooty that's in the sky, that's a monstrous creature, you've got to wound the thing before you can even get it out of the sky, which is awesome. You know, the Harrogils, both of them, very competitive now with Stomp, you know, again with strength 10, very fast, really cheap for what they are, great toughness, feel no pain as standard, which helps with the fact that they've only got a 3-up save. You know, there is so much strength and depth in the Tyranid arsenal, it's unreal. And that's even before you start factoring in allies, something that before Tyranids could even think about. Now the fact that anybody can ally, if you want to play something strong, yeah, you might not like the fluff, but actually, you know, who cares? You can do it in one or two ways. You can either go, sod the fluff, I don't care about it, I don't give a monkeys about the fluff, or you can go, I know what I'm going to do, I'm going to make something look like a Tyranid and I want to use it as this, because I want to. So you can do it in that approach. So there's lots of different ways to go down that allying route. You know, you don't have to be just standard with it. You can think out the box. You know, look at my knight. ideal example of something that I've seen something that I want in my army that I can now ally with, but actually, you know, I'll make it Tyranid. Why not? You know, so that gives you yet another example of why the Tyranid Codex is really, really strong. So yeah, so where would I rate Tyranids generally? Well, I don't think we are a top 3 codex, that's for sure. I don't think we are as strong as Eldar, as Tau, or as Demons. I don't think that's the case. We don't have the same sort of abilities that those armies have. But I personally think that under those 3 we can sit comfortably, and we can very much justify an argument why we're just as strong as any other army in the game. And that's the way I believe it. I really do strongly believe it. So what I would say is I'd be really interested to hear your thoughts, because I know that there's a lot of people that watch the channel that are Tyranid players, and I'd like to hear what you've got to say. Are you fed up with the Tyranid bashing, of the constant "we're the worst"? Do you believe it yourself? Do you think that actually we're still the poor man's army of the 40k universe? Or are you not a Tyranid player and you just watch, you know, you watch a few of the videos, or you stumble across this and you go, nah, you're by far the weakest codex. I'd really want to hear your reasons why. Why are we that bad? But yeah, so I hope you found it interesting to hear my point of view, because I kind of held back for a long time. But enough was enough. I needed to let you guys know what I feel. But thanks so much for watching. I look forward to chatting to you about other bits and pieces in the 40k universe soon. Please do like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.